Hooray, hooray, hooray. Gather round. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us at Jackrabbit Illustrated tonight. We would like to mention that the following program contains the possibility of bad language, inappropriate comments, and hosts with the propensity to wander off topic. Those of us at Jackrabbit Illustrated would like to thank you for joining us and would like to thank our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. With 10 dealerships across the great state of South Dakota, with all the equipment you may need for your home, acreage, or farming operation, there's always a Kubota dealer ready to provide you with the parts, service, and sales you need. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to what you came for. What do you say?
Scared money don't make money.
That's right, folks. Scared money don't make money. The spin-off show from the B Team with Ben and Brendan making their picks against the spread just like old times, with the addition of Alex Kenkel and his computer model that is featured weekly on JackrabbitIllustrated.com. As usual, the B Team and all Jackrabbit Illustrated podcasts are live on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and Twitter pages, along with being live on the FCS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Also, if you don't catch us live, be sure to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any major podcast outlet in between.
Scared Money Don't Make Money is thrilled to have their show sponsor be Cubby Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings. With the best beer and food in town and more TVs than wall space, Cubby Sports Bar and Grill is your Jackrabbit headquarters to watch any game, home or away. The B Team is also thrilled to announce their segment sponsor, Blue Tide Car Wash of Brookings, Mitchell, and Sioux Falls, as well as all the other get-and-go locations in South Dakota.
Scared money don't make money, right?
All right, so there's that. That's the playoff version of the because we didn't want to get it ready right for the season, so that is the playoff edition of our intro that we did for hopefully five shows worth of shows. So, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Welcome in. You heard all the sponsors. You heard the deal. I hate it. I hate it not what you did. I hate what I did. That's what I did. That's got it. I'm glad it's only for the end of this season. That's got to get changed. That was terrible.
I don't know. I threw it in there. I kind of like it, but it is a little lengthy. But
yeah,
we're going to try to not make this show lengthy. We're going to quickly recap the picks. Everybody went 5-2. Nobody moved anywhere.
Wild.
But I am at 500, which I feel good about. 50-50 and 2. Brennan's just behind at 49-51 and 2. The model is 48-52 and 2, and Alex is sitting atop with I don't know what could be an insurmountable lead at 57-43 and 2. But we shall see where that takes us. Just to quickly recap the games, Tennessee State beat SEMO and covered. Montana State whooped Montana 34-11 and covered. Murray State, what happened? We all trusted Murray State, and the spread was only 15, and you went out and lost by 62-0 against Southern Illinois. I don't know. Is Michael here? You're muted,
Brendan.
Against a grad assistant turned starter.
Yeah.
And then you let him set a school record for passing touchdowns.
That's embarrassing.
I just saw the article today. Through 7 touchdowns, it was a school record. Also, Stone,
cool
when you're listening, how does it feel to have a GA come off the bench and just casually set a passing touchdowns record?
That is great. It almost makes you think, like, did he find some prop bets on himself and go like pay off Murray State or something like that? Because man, that is embarrassing, losing by that much to that type of talent. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. Rev wishing Alex the happy birthday early, and we will wish Rev a happy birthday since it's his birthday actually today.
Happy birthday, Dustin. I don't know why you're spending the evening hours of it with us, but thank you for doing so.
You silly goose.
Love it. UNI beat Indiana State 41-34, but Indiana State covered. Illinois State took care of business 35-13 against UND and covered. USD with a I don't know. I call it a miracle win, but I mean, because they had to have a lot of stuff go right at the end there. 29-28 against NDSU at home and covered, and they were featured. What's that?
I call it improbable. I wouldn't call it a miracle because NDSU, they brought Matt Entz back for one game. Evidently, that's how they finished that one. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had to have a lot of things go right at the end there to win that game, but they did get featured on Bad Beats. The over hit when it did not look like it was going to hit, and it probably should not have hit. So that was interesting. And then SDSU covered against Missouri State 45-9. Never in doubt. I guess we can talk about that game a little bit. The only time that it was in doubt, I think, was on the fumbled kickoff. And, if they would have converted that to a touchdown, I think I would have been, I don't know, a little worried at least. But, outside of that, it was pretty much business as usual. And, I mean, Brendan and I gave our thoughts on it on the B team. Alex, you have any thoughts?
yeah, and to be completely transparent, I still haven't watched the whole thing start to finish. I don't know that I will. I watched the first half where I had to run to go to an airport too.
You didn't miss much. Didn't
My
miss much.
brother-in-law's office. And I don't know how much of the games I'm going to get to watch tomorrow because we're flying back tomorrow and got to do family Christmas tree stuff and all that. So hopefully catch some highlights before I go to bed tomorrow. But yeah, from what I saw, passing offense once again really looks sharp coming into the postseason. Something I really wanted to see. Changane, as you guys all talk about, 18-18. Changane was fantastic. They're getting hot right when he wanted to. And Tucker Large and Caleb Francel, or Tucker Large and Caleb Francel. I don't know what more you say about that. We're so lucky to have those guys. I'm pleasantly and thankfully surprised, as we all talked about in our group chats, about Francel being a Buchanan semifinalist. That is a awesome and well-deserved honor for him.
Yeah, he's played really well this year, and he's lived up kind of to that hype that we saw a flash of him, and then he got injured, and he's definitely kind of lived up to that. Well, the potential that we thought he had. So really cool to see. With that, why don't we roll into JIAI quick?
I just pulled up the stats.
Brought to you by Blue Tide Car Wash. Locations all over the state. They're in Brookings, Mitchell, and Sioux Falls. I just saw the Mitchell one today. I was out west there in Chamberlain and got to see the Blue Tide one in Mitchell. That is up and running. I know it because I saw cars going through it. So she's up and running. If you're in the Mitchell area, get yourself Blue Tide Unlimited membership and get as many car washes as you want, especially in the winter. Keep that salt and grime off the car. Go to Blue Tide Car Wash today.
Perfect. What were you saying, Alex?
Oh, I was just said I pulled up the FCS national stats. Just going through some teams you don't necessarily watch every week. I was going to point something out, but I didn't want to put salt in the wound for Dustin, especially on his birthday.
Ooh.
SFA is the only team both in top 10 scoring offense and defense to not make the playoffs.
Ouch.
That's what they call underperforming.
Well, Vidlac got hurt was a big part of it.
Yeah, that doesn't.
It's just called not knowing how to finish, I think. I mean, you're performing. If you're top 10 offense and defense in that conference, defense is more impressive, but you're just not finishing.
Underperforming compared to expectations, I'm saying.
Anyhow, JIAI.
Let's get into it.
We need it. This is the lowest energy one we have ever done.
Now we'll kick it up a notch here. The face of JIAI
every time.
The face of Blue Tide Car Wash, Brendan and his Deep V. For Thanksgiving edition of JIAI, I wanted to take a run around all of the Jackrabbit Illustrated members, see what they're up to for Thanksgiving. First off, we have Brendan. Probably saw this tweeted out, doing a little turkey dance on the Macy's Day Parade. Love that one.
Yeah.
Got nothing. This is Ree and I enjoying Thanksgiving. Little friends throwback here. This is Alex.
Look how nice Ben's is to himself, but
Right.
everybody else around him, he's a dick.
Alex throwing away the Kenkel model. Trying to find a new model here. Chad always looking for the beer.
He's always running for beer too.
It's true. Matt making a deal with Cubbies that they can't refuse
Bring back the
for
J
the-
Italian nachos.
for the J Italian nachos. Dallas, I'm sure being a hockey dad somewhere. This is obviously not Dallas's figure, but I
No.
just the gif was too good. I had to put Dallas's face on it.
It's Dallas at his kids' hockey games.
I can only assume Dallas is watching hockey somewhere. Seems like he's always is.
Yes.
And then we've got Jake riding in his or dreaming about riding in his side by side that I don't know if he's ever gonna get, but that's the runaround for JI people. We got SEMO just limping into the playoffs. They looked really good to start
Bullet
the
holes.
year. And only one leg now. It's gonna be tough to play. Bobby Houck just can't seem to figure it out against Montana State. I feel like his nose is really accurate in this one for some reason. Murray State looking for a new conference, possibly the Pioneer League. They just what a horrible year in the Valley, and obviously it's going to be tough until you can get the right players, but they look like they need to go play in the Premier League. Skeletor riding off into the sunset with one last win. Good for him.
Showing me again.
What's that? That's what we mean. Yeah. UND's looking for some money to buy out Bubba's contract. I went back and looked, and I mean, since they were in like the top 10, weren't they, or top 8?
And they started
Yeah.
5-2 and we're on a 5-game win streak at one point. And
Yeah, and just the way they ended that season, man, was awful. And it wasn't only against like the top teams. I mean, they lost to who was it?
Youngstown in overtime.
Youngstown. Yeah, Indiana State.
They lost to the Trees on the road.
Yeah, and then obviously SDSU USD, which you can understand, but then just to put up a stinker against Illinois State to end the year, I don't know, man. They got to be regretting that contract for sure. Like I said, I called it a miracle, and never want to give them too much credit. But the Yotes pulling out the win against the Bison, which was wild. That it was an entertaining game, and I thought after I wish that they hadn't had the leaping penalty, because I was really interested to see what would have happened if NDSU would have went up by 7, USD would have got the ball. It would have been interesting. I mean, it obviously turned out really interesting, but I still don't know. I mean, I saw the breakdown of that last play where USD scored a touchdown on NDSU, and somebody said that it wasn't a broken coverage, but I don't believe that. I think that there was a safety over top, and the safety over top should have covered the middle seam, and the cornerback should have taken the outside seam.
No,
and he went with the middle seam.
Yeah, I'm not the football brain a lot of other people are, but like all of us, I watch way too much football and talk shows. It looked like the corner was playing cover 2, and it looked like the safety was playing cover 3 or cover 4, and hence the big just patch of green with nobody standing around that guy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. But there were two. I mean, the fourth down throw that they had to have was a really, really nice throw and catch. And then the sideline one was insane too, with the kind of twirl and getting his foot down. So, I mean, they earned it. And I mean, NDSU, they had their opportunities, man. They should have closed out that game. As we know, weird things happen down in the Dome. But that was a fun game to watch anyway. And then the Bears putting their tail between their legs, heading to the cesspool that is the CUSA. So go enjoy that.
Expensive FCS.
What's that?
Expensive FCS.
Exactly. All right. With that, let's get into our picks for this week. We've got a full slate of round one playoff games. We'll start out not in Illinois State. We'll start out at SEMO because Illinois State can't host. But Illinois State is a 2-point favorite on the road. What's the model say?
Model says Redbirds by 1.3, so it is just barely going to take SEMO to cover. It thinks that's a really good line. Ooh, I agree. I think SEMO has struggled enough that it really makes me want to take Illinois State. But the best player on the field should be Paxton DeLaurent, and especially at the quarterback position, that should mean something. But who has the better run game? Who has better defense? Those are things that matter, especially this time of year. Illinois State, both of those. So 2-point, we're basically talking money line. Give me the Redbirds.
I thought you said you agreed. Do you want the Red Hawks or the Red Birds?
Redbirds. I said that's a very good line.
Okay.
I am going to take SEMO at home here. If this was on the road, I'd probably take Illinois State. My head says Illinois State should be able to control this with their run game and then be able to have Rittenhouse or what's his name take over and make the clutch plays. But I just got a feeling that DeLaurent is not going to just flame out like that. I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's going to do enough to cover and win by 3. I think it'll be a tight game, but I think because it's at home, I'll take SEMO.
I'll take Illinois State. I think they're a bit underrated. They, had some games where they didn't look the best, but they did what they needed to do, pile up wins. I think they win this one, by 7 to 10 points. So I'll take an easy 2. Next up, we've got Central Connecticut State going to Rhode Island, who is a 14.5-point favorite at home.
Model says Rams by 16.18, so it will take the Rams to cover. And so will I. I think the Fighting Anderson De Leons really just dominate both sides of the ball in this one, especially in the trenches. As Kevin and Matt talked about on A-Team, Central Connecticut State really shouldn't be in the playoffs. I mean, they should. They earned the right to do so by beating Duquesne. That was just such a weird game. Duquesne would have been a way better matchup. The Rams are going to dog walk them, and I see it by more than 14.
Yeah, Rhode Island has a good defense and okay offense. And against Central Connecticut State, that's going to have proved dividends in a big way. I don't see CCSU staying within 2 scores at all. It's going to be a 4-score game.
Agreed. I think Rhode Island rolls in this one. Did you say the model? Which one the model take?
Rhode Island.
Okay, perfect. Next up, we've got UT Martin going to UNH, and UT Martin's favored on the road by 1.5.
That's because the CAA's dog shit.
Bottle says UT Martin is favored by 0.6 of a point. So it will take New Hampshire to cover, but just barely. I think UT Martin wins this one big. I not super overly impressed with what I've seen. A little bit of New Hampshire I've watched this year, and UT Martin's a good football team. Realistically, UT Martin's a couple bounces away of the football for me to top 8 seed this year. Give me UT Martin. I understand why the odds are maybe that close. If you look at both teams' records and stats, but if you put on the tape, I just don't think this is going to be a very close game.
Yeah, Seth Meyer saying UNH might be the best team in the CAA. They played almost all top teams while everybody else only played 1. That's fair, but I'm unimpressed with the CAA's top teams as well. So give me UT Martin on the road to take this one. The CAA is I'm banking on the CAA just flaming out and So what's probably going to happen is they're going to do the opposite and they'll win all their first round games and then get absolutely pummeled the second round. But I'm going to go ahead and take the UT Martin on the road.
Man, I'm real tempted to take the home dog here, but I don't think I can. I'll go with UT Martin as well. Eastern Kentucky goes to Villanova, and Villanova is a 9.5-point favorite at home.
Model says Nova by 9.6, so it is just barely going to take Wildcats to cover. I don't know. I kind of like Villanova to win here, but I think Eastern Kentucky will cover. I don't know that it'll be by 2 scores. Similar deal. Nova CAA team hasn't looked overly impressive, and Eastern Kentucky's been getting hot right point of the year this time. So, I said I think Villanova will win, but I definitely will take Eastern Kentucky to cover a 9.5-point spread.
Yeah, I'm riding with EKU as well. Matt, the Podfather's darling. I'm going to take them to cover in this game. I've been unimpressed with Nova all year. I'm becoming more and more convinced that Nova was able to hang with us because of the weather and not because of much anything else in that game. And that gave them an inflated sense when they came into the next season because they just haven't done it. And eventually that talent should shine through, and it really hasn't unless you're going to look at the Delaware game. But they always beat Delaware. So I think Delaware, I think I said this before, Delaware could be facing Villanova if Villanova ran out the kindergarten class from East Philly and they'd still beat them, and Villanova would still beat Delaware. So go ahead and give me Eastern Kentucky to cover, and I think they'll win outright.
I don't know if they'll win outright, but I'll take Eastern Kentucky. It's going to be funny. I've heard a lot of people taking Eastern Kentucky, but they're probably just going to go and get beat by like 20. But we'll see. Lehigh goes to Richmond. Richmond is favored by 8.5.
Model says Richmond by 11.24, so it says Richmond covers. I do think this is the one CAA team that will show up because they are the CAA team by far. They've been playing some good football. They've got a solid defense. Their pass offense is really good. I'd like to see a little bit better rush offense going into the second season here. But they shouldn't need it to beat Lehigh, and they shouldn't need it to beat Lehigh soundly. I'll agree with the model. I'll also take Richmond to cover here.
They may be facing extreme Lehigh, but that line is not extremely high. So give me the Spiders at home. I think Lehigh I got a lot of vibes of just happy to be there when you tear down the field goal post for winning the conference and making the playoffs and beating your rivals. So I think they're going to be emotionally drained. They're going to just be happy to be there, and Richmond's going to paddle them.
That was a bad dad joke, but you're on mute. He's like, screw it.
Not even worth repeating.
I'll take Richmond to cover 2. I think they win easy. We've got Drake going to Tarleton State. Tarleton is a 21-point favorite at home.
Model says Tarleton by 21.2, so another good line, but it is going to take Tarleton to cover. I agree. I know Drake's had kind of a magical season with the Eastern Washington upset, and then they played someone else close early in the year, but I think Tarleton's going to be able to name the score in this one. I think Tarleton is, contrary to what Dustin keeps saying, I think Tarleton is a solid team, and they'll be able to name the score in this one.
Yeah, give me Tarleton on this one. Yeah, Drake upset Eastern Washington, but that was not the Eastern Washington that ended the season. And Eastern Washington should still be embarrassed, and I'm pretty sure are still embarrassed by that. When they went to USD, they were the same old Drake that we normally see, and they got absolutely smoked. So give me Tarleton State to cover the 21. I think they win by 28 plus.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'll take Drake. That's a lot of points. 21. I think they'll be able to do enough to stay within 21. This could be really bad for me. I'm going to really need Drake because I'm going against Brendan and the model here. A little bit of a risk, but I'm willing to take it. The Fighting Ray Gronowskis are going to do me good. Next up, We've got Northern Arizona going to Abilene Christian. Northern Arizona is a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Model says Northern Arizona covers 3.5-point favorite. I don't know. This one's really tough. Abilene's got a tremendous offense, but Northern Arizona is way more balanced. We've also had a lot of schedule. So I guess not that I need to trail or whatever. But yeah, I'll also take Northern Arizona to cover just because I think that defense will be really what does them in. I think Abilene's defense, I should say, Abilene won't be able to stop them when it counts, and that'll kind of be their undoing.
I'm going to take Abilene Christian because they're at home. And I'm really, NAU, I think it was McKinnell who went through their wins on the road. You know who their road wins are this year? Cal Poly and Northern Colorado are two of them. And then the third one is like Idaho State. So not good. They haven't beat anybody with a pulse on the road. So I am going to take Abilene Christian to win at home and then go up and get smoked in Fargo.
To be fair, Daniel, Alex is on the road.
I'm in Colorado Springs.
Also, Zach, that's not a desperation pick. That's a pick to build a cushion. I'm not in desperation mode. I'm 2 picks ahead of the model right now. So I will also take Abilene Christian. I've taken too many road favorites. I'll take a home dog here. I think Abilene Christian gets it done and gets a W. Lastly, we've got the game that feeds to SDSU. We've got Tennessee State going to Montana. Montana's favored by 15.
Model says Grizz by 15.4. So it's just barely going to take the Grizz. 15 I feel like is a lot. Tennessee State's hot. They've been playing really well the back half of the year. I don't think they have what it takes to go into Wagers and win. But I do think they have what it takes to cover, especially with the continued inconsistency of Montana's defense. I agree they played Montana State last week, and it's very easy for defense to look bad against Montana State. But that inconsistency, I think, especially Tennessee State's been able to light up the scoreboard a little bit. I think Tennessee State covers, but the Grizz lose or win.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree. Every year, there's a difference between Tennessee State can still be a good and hot team, but there tends to be a difference once they face a top-end Big Sky Valley team. And I've taken a lot of teams from smaller conferences so far, but that's because they were all facing the CAA. Who I view as should have less respect than the Southland or the Big South or anything like that. But if we go through, I would love for Tennessee State to give them a hard time and win. I think that'd be great. I'm not a huge fan. And like Kevin Marshall points out, the TSU special teams are awful, which is a nightmare if you're facing Junior Bergen.
Just kick it out of bounds. 35 is better than a house call.
Yeah, but if you're terrible at special teams, you're probably not good at that either. They had some absurd ranking, but I think that Montana covers this game. Even playing what I consider to be a damn good Davis team. That was a fight for the majority of the game at Montana. And I don't think as much as I think Tennessee State's a good team, I don't think they could hang at all with Davis unless Davis was sleepwalking. I think they've taken a lot of heat after losing the Brawl of the Wild, and they're going to be locked in for this one, and they'll be smart enough to start Logan Fife the whole game. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Grizz to cover.
I think I will as well. I don't know what time this game is. I was going to look and see.
Like 9:15 kick.
Oh, late in Montana.
8:15 local time.
So it's going to get a little chilly tomorrow night.
That's on ESPNU.
Not sure.
ESPN2.
I will take Montana here. I think that the atmosphere is going to be too much for Tennessee State, and they won't like the cold. And I think Montana finds a little success after licking their wounds against Montana State. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to tune into that game and see how the teams look and who gets fed into Brookings. It looks like it's going to be a chilly one next Saturday, based on the weather now. Kev, it's not Nashville isn't Miami, but it's
Nashville is also not Missoula.
no.
You know, people who live in Missoula should know that.
No, it's different. So with that, thanks
Well,
everybody for joining. Oh, you go ahead.
It is going to be
Maybe like
a high of
30 degrees.
38 and a
At
low
kickoff.
27. So
It's gonna be like 30 at kickoff. That's not terrible, I guess.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah. that's not awful. I do feel I was listening. Somebody was saying it's like in the high 30s, low 40s right now down in Tennessee. So it shouldn't be a shock to their system.
Just don't warm up without your shirts on.
Yeah, that's the kiss of death. Actually, do Montana to cover.
Actually, yeah, that's about what the weather's been in Nashville this week. So sorry, Kevin, I stand corrected. You're right. It won't be I guess weather won't be too much of a shock for the Tigers.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see who wins that one, gets fed to Brookings, and we'll have all the regularly scheduled podcasts next week to preview that game. Buy your tickets for the playoffs. Go buy some Jack's gear. 30% off today for Black Friday.
Yep,
That's
you
all
still
I got.
got
Anything else?
you got until midnight, 30% off the whole website. It's online only, Jackrabbit Central. So big discounts there. And beyond that, the playoff tickets are $10.
Mm-hmm.
And every game from here on out, it might be your last chance to ever see Mark Gronowski and Adam Bach and all these guys, Tucker Large, suit up in a Jackrabbit uniform, show up for them. That's a big thing, and that's huge dividends for future success as well. So
I feel like we'll see Tucker Large play more, but
yeah, well, he's not a senior.
No.
I'm an idiot. Fine, whatever. I am an idiot.
Tangent. That safety room is going to be stacked next year with him.
Good
and
God.
Reader
Yeah.
getting to med red and Durant's and Herter back.
yeah,
Are we
that's
just
nasty.
going to play nickel all the time?
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, he's a junior. Well, I'm an idiot. Jesus. Anyways,
It happens. All right. Well, Chris is covering for Jim tonight. Appreciate that. As always, go big, go blue,
go
Jack.
Jack.
Go Jags.